Ozzy, Ozzy, Ozzy? I know you're out there somewhere. Anyway, to the rest of you, howdy, bonjour, bonjour, buenos dias, Guten Tag, good Tag, namaste, Kamusta, and ni hao. I hope you're having a great morning. And if this is afternoon, then pretty much all of my greetings there were, like, inappropriate for that part of the day. Sorry. What you gonna do? Anyway, this is Edward, and welcome to More Geek Than Gay. Ta-da!
There's no need to fear. Underdog is here.
Wookie, tiny whiny stuff.
Howdy, 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 howdy. And it's me, Edward. Joseph is out running errands, this time I think for the Dart League. I think he's also getting a haircut. So, stepping in for him, we've got Lurky. Lurky the cat. Yeah, Lurky the cat. He's really not much of a geek. Yeah, he's an introvert. Not that you could tell at this moment, but he's a big old introvert. But Lurky the cat is not a good geek. I don't even think he's ever watched a cartoon ever. So, how's everyone doing? I don't know where I said going from. Oh. But, we missed an episode yesterday. Sorry about that. It happens. It's gonna happen. This daily thing, especially as I'm getting it established, the daily thing is gonna have a couple misses here and there. And personally, I don't like the look of it when we record at night, just because, as Terry pointed out, we looked faded. Now, those of you who got the audio podcast, like, you don't know anything about that, but there's also the video version, and the video version doesn't look as good. Audio version? Yay! I have a great face for audio version, so yay! Especially right now, because apparently I have some sort of, like, psoriasis or something like that going on, and it's just right across, like, the tops of my cheeks, towards the bridge of my nose and everything. It's itchy, it's scaly, it's annoying. I've tried putting lotion on it. The lotion makes it less hard, but it makes it more red because it burns a little. So, yay, thank you there. So, wonderful thing with my face going on that you lucky souls getting the video version get to deal with, and you unfortunate people with the audio, you don't get to see the red sunshine that is my face. Aw. Anyway, on another bit of unrelated news, something that would annoy everybody else, and it's not annoying me at all. I have caterpillars eating all my peppers. Big green I think they're tomato worms or something like that. And I think they turn into a moth or something like that. But they're big green caterpillars with black and yellow spots on them. And I can understand people being upset because they are stripping all the leaves off these plants and they're eating the peppers but right now it's off time for my peppers, so there was very few peppers on them anyway. And I have discovered that every time these little buggers strip off all the leaves off the plants, the plants grow back with more leaves, more robust, healthier, and greener looking than ever. So it's a little bit of tough love with my plants. And plus, they're kind of cute caterpillars. They're bright green and big and gushy, and they just like go with that little horn on their head. So that has nothing to do with anything except for the fact that I discovered that I have like 6 of them going through my garden right now. Just, I'm stripping all the leaves. So, topic for the day is stereotypes. Stereotypes. Reason why is because just recently, and I don't know why this seems to be the thing to talk about right now, okay? Everybody is on the bandwagon for bitching about Big Bang Theory. Big Bang Theory, I'm sure most of you guys are aware of it, although some of you guys around the world may not be able to catch it and everything. I think there's versions of the show in other countries, though, but basically centers around a group of nerds. 2 are roommates. One's an extreme introvert type. Well, introvert's not quite the right word for what Sheldon is, but he's incredibly smart and incredibly rigid in his thinking, borderline asexual, and everyone else is like big old geeks. His roommate's a geek. His girlfriend is a geek who is much like him, but she's become much more loose because she's enjoying the idea of not being the geek, of having friends and not being that nerdy outcast that she was in high school and college and graduate school. You got the foreign exchange geek, Raj. You got the one who's not a doctor, poor Howard, the engineer. You got his wife, who is a doctor. Okay, it's a whole bunch of geek talk. And then you got the one non-geek, Penny, who's the neighbor who hangs out with them all. And they talk science all the time. They talk comic books. They argue Star Trek versus Star Wars versus Firefly versus Babylon 5. They talk all this stuff. Okay, they one time bought the prop for the time machine and then went, oh wow, this is really big. But they didn't stop them from pretending that they were in the time machine. It's put out by Warner, so that explains why you're pretty much only seeing DC Comics stuff when they go to the comic book store or when they do things, although they have had Stan Lee on there. So that is Big Bang Theory. Half-hour sitcom. It's now in its 7th season. Yay. A lot of people have recently taken, and I mean, I've heard people bitch before about it as like geek culture or the things it gets wrong or blah blah blah, or I just don't find it funny. Recently, oh my god, the last 2 weeks, I have seen more and more people post about how much they dislike this show, don't find it funny, because it gets nerd culture entirely wrong, and I have friends who are nerds who have never opened a comic book, and to them, I say, bah, I say, even a fi, because first off, if you actually did watch the show, you'd realize that at least 2 of it's the girl nerds, but 2 of the nerds on the show don't do comic books either. They also don't do sci-fi. So there's your other nerds. Yay. And don't sit there and complain that these people don't represent you and your friends and therefore they're not nerds, when I can go to the comic book store, or I can go to a comic book convention, or sci-fi convention, or I can look in the flippin' mirror and I see these nerds. Okay? Just because you aren't these people doesn't mean they don't exist. And this leads me to the idea of stereotypes. Because yes, in many ways they are stereotypical nerds. Just like on the TV show Brothers, an old HBO or Showtime TV show, ran for 4 or 5 seasons. about three brothers. One of them came out as gay. He has a best friend named Donald Maltby. Donald Maltby was swishing and Nelly, and he had a doorbell that went ding, 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 and all that stuff. I don't think he had a bone in his wrist. He was the stereotypical gay. He also was a fantastic character of great depth and warmth, and you just loved him. And that's a little bit of my issue here, is that same thing happened when they put together the character El Extraño for comic books. First gay character in a mainstream comic. Everyone likes to think it's North Star, but that's just because DC tries to pretend that El Extraño doesn't exist anymore, even though he was around for a good, solid, in-your-face year. And El Extraño was a Nelly, and they also did never say the word gay for El Extraño. At least North Star, they did declare, hey, I'm gay. But El Extraño, it was never said point blank that he was gay. He did refer to himself as auntie, and there was plenty of other things that made him very stereotypically gay. But he was also incredibly likable, brave. He was a hero. He was someone you could aspire to be. I think one of the reasons why people don't like stereotypes is twofold. One, stereotypes have a tendency of being very two-dimensional, and people use stereotypes as lazy writing without actually developing a character, and therefore it becomes offensive. Okay, it becomes an insult because you're not actually writing a character, you're just putting together a whole bunch of stereotypical characteristics of what everyone thinks is that character, but you didn't develop any depth. And if you're going to have a stereotype character, that character has to be as well, if not actually more, developed than every other character on the page or screen. The reason why I say more is because as a stereotype, smart, brainy, good at math Asian kid whose parents, make him play violin, well, that character better be really well developed because there's someone out there who's going to bitch about it being a stereotype. So you better really make sure that character is positively a realistic, three-dimensional, living, breathing, paper, film, whatever character. Even more than, say, his best friend, who is just a typical high school kid. You gotta be aware that there are people who are going to be offended at anything that they think is a stereotype. Which is a shame because, and this leads to part 2 of why people seem to be offended by stereotypes, and that is, I think that they want to deny that those things exist. And stereotypes, for the most part, there are some that are based upon religious intolerance, political intolerances, things like that. But just social stereotypes are a lot of times based in fact. Okay? That Donald Maltby character swishing across the stage, or swishing across the room on Brothers, I've met that guy in the bars. These guys on Big Bang Theory, these nerds that don't know how to talk to girls, and that can sit there and argue at length about whether or not mummies are actually a type of zombie, and stuff like that, which I actually kind of agree with Raj. Just because it doesn't eat people, I think that mummies still are a zombie. Vampires are a zombie too. They're all just walking undead. But, sorry, that was my distraction there. That you just want to sweep all those people under the rug as if they don't exist, when actually all you got to do is go out there into the real world, and there they are. Okay? It's just that they are, as I said before, deeper people than just socially inept and unable to, come to a conclusion on whether or not mummies are zombies. just because you are uncomfortable around those people doesn't mean they don't exist and that it's bad that people are using that stereotype. Just because a lot of people, I think, are ashamed of the swishy stereotype Nelly Queen gay character. And what a shame, because that swishy Nelly gay character, you know, in the 70s and all that, those are the guys that were fighting on the front line along with the trannies, and I apologize if anyone doesn't like the word tranny, but to hell with you. Transvestites and transsexuals is just too long of a word. Besides the trannies, besides the drag queens, these Nelly Queens were there on the forefront fighting for gay rights. And they put in their time, and there's nothing to be ashamed of them. Okay? They have great stories. And every day, a new Nelly Queen is born to take the place of the old ones. And that little kid is a great kid. Okay? Same thing with these geeky nerds. They're out there. They have depth. They have no reason to be ashamed of them. Okay? No reason to sit there and go, no, a real nerd. I know plenty of real nerds who like football and are really popular with the girls and such. I'm going, well, that's nice for them. That's really nice for them. But there's plenty of other nerds out there that don't fit that description. So stop hating on them. Stop hating a show that you think is on a show just because you think that it's depicting a stereotype incorrectly, when if you walked outside to any place where those people would go, you would be able to pinpoint those stereotypes right away. Okay? Feel free to dislike the show just because you don't find it funny or whatever. Okay? I don't understand why people liked How I Met Your Mother. Okay? Neil Patrick Harris was the only good thing about that show, and even he was only sometimes funny. Well, and the girl who played Willow, she was sometimes funny too. Their little relationship. But I'm not going to watch a show just because one out of every 5 minutes of it, or, you know, I can get like 2 minutes of funny out of a half-hour show. Okay, so feel free to hate on a show just because you don't find it funny. That's fine. Nothing is for everybody. There's people out there who don't like strawberries, and they're weird. Okay, if you don't like strawberries and you don't have an allergy to them, there's something up with you, I swear. But, fine, don't like strawberries. But don't accuse the show of being socially prejudiced or whatever with the stereotypes and presenting things incorrectly when, no, those exist, and you have to be working really hard to turn a blind eye to their existence. And a rather rude blind eye, too. Okay, because that means you're actively trying to pretend that they don't exist. Okay, if you group yourself in with that category and you say you don't know those people, you are actively avoiding them. You are seeing right through, like, at least 50% of the people at a convention or whatever, okay? Sorry, it's just the truth. Nerds are here, and if you want, I am willing to entertain the idea that Big Bang Theory is part of what I consider to be nerdsploitation. I don't think that Hollywood is actually embracing nerds. I think that they're exploiting it because it's popular at the moment, and the next moment that they find something else popular, they will easily turn their back on nerd culture, and it's up to the nerds themselves to pick it all up, okay? Which, fortunately, we have shows like The Guild, we have Geek and Sundry on YouTube, we have the Nerdist channel. Nerds are starting to pick it up, just like how blacks were picking it up during the blaxploitation days. So, but I'll give you that Big Bang Theory is nerdsploitation, if you want to argue that. I also understand people who argue that it's not, so Okay, whatever. But don't say it's inaccurate. Stereotypes exist for a reason. Stereotypes, there's nothing wrong with using stereotypes or embracing stereotypes, as long as you embrace the fact that a stereotype is actually just part of a bigger and whole person. Okay? Just like a football jock. Well, that football jock actually has a whole personality. His whole personality, a mother, her personality is not the fact that she's a mother. Okay, her personality rests also in the music that she likes, and the food that she eats, and the hobbies that she has, and her political views, and things like that. Same thing with these all stereotypes. So that's my thought on stereotypes. If you guys have anything else you want to say on it, or if you disagree with me, feel free. Look forward to your comments on this, because I know that there are people who feel very strongly about the stereotype thing. And, I mean, wow, the Big Bang Theory thing, I cannot believe how many sites I'm looking at that are just blowing up with how much they think that Big Bang Theory is offensive to nerd culture because they're making bad stereotypes. So, hey, feel free to disagree. That's the world we live in. I would like to thank you all for hanging out with me, catching us on our almost daily event so far. I look forward to any comments. If you have a spare moment, check out Joshua Tree Feeding Program. They are a feeding program that helps people with HIV and AIDS get food. They also have a sister program that helps people feed their pets so they don't have to choose between feeding themselves and their pets. Their website is www.jtfp.org. There will be a link on our page for that. You can also check out all the other sites that I have on there. If you're looking for candles, hit up Joseph. If you're looking for like a sports magazine with a gay edge, hey, I got a link for Compete. If you're looking for some interesting clothing, Boom Boom LaRue's right there. Always feel free to check out our links. Always keep up, because if I have something that I mention in the show that I think will work for the link, and I will put a link down there for you. Okay? So, until tomorrow, you all have a great day. Yay!